What's good, everybody? My name is Jugg, and I'm Son, and welcome back to another episode of the Juggcast. This is episode 57. How you doing today, boy?
Well, not great.
I mean, look. You know, I'm not doing well. I'm feeling seasoned.
I'm feeling grizzled.
Yeah, they cooked me on an open grill and they didn't freaking turn me at all. We got a movie to talk about this week, boy. What's that?
Eternals.
Marvel's Eternals. Look, I if you listen to the quick review, there's a spoiler. You already know how we feel about this movie, but we're definitely going to get into it and all the things that pissed us off about this diaper fire of a movie. Yeah, you contribute. You edit videos.
Yeah,
it's
hard work.
You edit podcasts.
It's hard work.
You make sure that things get out.
Yeah.
On YouTube and on wherever you listen to wherever we cast the pods.
I try my best.
Yeah. You don't just sit next to me and just bring your voice and that's it. You don't just do that.
No, that'd be terrible.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like you'd be contributing nothing. I can't do that.
It's like you'd be a nobody.
Yeah, I gotta like contribute and edit stuff, and editing's hard.
Takes you like all day, doesn't it?
It does. Also, I'm always here editing the whole time. I don't get off the computer.
Yeah. Anyways, we gotta get into this movie, boy. What's this movie called again?
Marvel's Eternals.
Okay, I wrote down some notes here. Follow me on this, boy. So, I feel like this movie was one of those movies that they were trying to make into a Guardians of the Galaxy type situation, where nobody really knew who these characters were. I mean, I knew who some of these characters were. I don't really follow the Eternals that well, or the Celestials that well.
I've just heard the name Eternals, and I know of one Celestial.
I know of a couple, but I don't know the one that was in this movie, which, fine, whatever.
It's funny, as Guardians did a Celestial better.
Yeah, that guy didn't say shit. Anyways, Guardians of the Galaxy had genuine charm. And the characters were written so well that you cared about what happened. And even though many people didn't know about these characters that well, they fell in love with literally all of them because of how well they were written and how well this movie was acted and shot and directed.
And the best part about it is that the villain wasn't really that great, but they actually made the heroes outshine the villain for once.
Well, they had always been doing that. I don't think it was like until much later where they started to have villains be great.
Not this one.
Yeah, not this one. This movie in 2021, it cost about $200 million to make. Okay, how much did it make at the box office, boy? Give me a guess.
I'm thinking 100.
No, it made $400 million at the box office worldwide.
Oh.
So that means that it probably cleared about $202 million at the box office. Okay, so it made some profit. They at least made back what they put into it at Disney, right?
Yeah, I bet.
This isn't what, I have for reference. Because Spider-Man No Way Home also cost $200 million to make.
Yeah.
And do you know how much it made?
It made a lot.
$1.9 billion with a B, billion dollars. Okay? Does this movie here that has an ensemble cast with some big stars and some I've also never heard of, does this match a movie with one of the most recognizable superheroes on the planet on his third outing in the MCU?
Depends on which third one.
I gotta tell you, son, I don't give a I don't care. Is that fair for me to say that, boy?
Yeah, I guess both of Spider-Man's number 3s are better than this.
Yeah. And if you find that to not be fair for me to say something like that out there in the internet, I'll give you Spider-Man Homecoming. Spider-Man Homecoming also cost $200 million to make. Okay? And its box office worldwide, $880 million. Okay? Okay. How about this? The first Spider-Man movie, the one that came out in 2002. Okay? It made $825 million. With the cost of inflation, that actually brings us up to $1.3 billion today. Okay? So this movie did not perform very well. Okay, but let's get past the data, okay? I don't really want to talk about this movie, son.
It's got to be done.
I mean, we're doing the Lord's work here.
Yeah. I mean, I did the Lord's work because I watched this movie twice.
You think that gives you power over me?
Yeah. Yeah, it does. It does. It does. You only sat through it once. You got lucky. I watched it twice. And I'm like, and you know, it's funny. The first time I watched it, I had subtitles. The second time, I didn't need the subtitles because I already heard all the dialogue and everything, you know?
This movie is not funny. No. And, like, I'll give you something, okay? Like, you know, Thor, the latest one, the Love and Thunder, had some funny moments in it.
Not the goats.
I would watch the goats 1,000 more times.
Over this.
Just goats the entire time. You know, because this movie was 2.5 son of a bitch hours. I can't even talk.
I mean, it felt way longer.
I wanted this movie to be over after the first few minutes.
I was like, you know, I want to watch Raw.
Yeah, and SmackDown.
It's like
back to back.
I'd watch them back to back, and it would not feel as long as this movie.
Yeah, so
yeah,
this movie starts with the Eternals getting their Marvel costumes, looking like a bunch of damn Power Rangers.
Yeah, I mean they use it like here in the intro, and then after this intro, you're not gonna see these costumes
like until about the end, right?
Yep. So you know. Hope you like.
Hope you liked them in the very beginning because it's about almost 2 hours until you get to see them again.
I mean, I guess if you want to see them forever, you can just buy the action figures
and set them on fire in the front of your yard or wherever you choose to burn them.
Yeah, maybe I'll have Randy Orton action figures set out on fire. And then have
with the pose.
Yeah, with like the pose, just standing in the backyard. I don't know. Then we'll have like whoever wrote this movie will have like just like a drawing of them on the floor screaming like Bray Wyatt or something.
And that brings me up to the director of this movie. She won an Oscar the year this movie came out for a different movie. I haven't seen that movie yet. She won an Oscar, and so they let her direct this one at some point in time between either before or after her directing her Oscar-winning movie. And this is what she turned in.
Well, you know.
Some human being sat there and thought, hey, we should make an Eternals movie. And another human being who was above them said, yeah, that's a good idea.
Well, you know, they can't all be Oscar-winning like Suicide Squad.
At least Suicide Squad got an Oscar. I would watch that movie 1,000 more times before I watch this one. Okay?
Yeah, that movie doesn't look so bad compared to this.
So, the Eternals get on to Earth, and there's a man out there fishing with his son, and he gets eaten by what we now know are deviants.
They're pretty generic monsters.
Yeah, if you've seen a monster in a movie that eats people, you've seen this thing. Okay.
I think it's worse because I watched Stranger Things recently, and their monsters are different.
They're better.
And then I come to this, and I'm like, oh, well, this looks even worse.
The Eternals come out, and they kill all the monsters, and this looks like the most generic action scene I've ever seen. I hated it the entire time I was watching it, and I was just mad. I was like, that was generic as hell.
Even the music was boring.
Just generic music. It was like the most generic thing ever. And the thing is, they're trying to make me sit here and feel great about these characters, and I don't even know them.
And it's funny is that when they stop to pose, they all look bored.
Like, everybody looked bored. Like, why am I even here?
Also, one thing I noticed is when watching this movie, like, I know usually, like, in movies with fight scenes, there's supposed to be, like, loud sounds. There's, like, I guess, impact, emotion. Most of these action scenes didn't have any of that for me.
No, it was just, this movie was just a dumpster fire of people phoning it in.
It's like things are happening on screen, and they want you to think it's cool, but like it's not. It's like I've seen this all before.
So this movie cuts to the present day, and you're gonna get a lot of that in this movie, of it cutting through time, because these characters are, quote, eternal, so therefore they just live throughout time, not aging ever.
And they don't really. Sometimes they'll tell you, sometimes they won't.
They'll just be there, then they won't be there, and then it just.
It's like, oh, okay, that's fine.
So we go to present day, and you see Kit Harington, who's playing the character Dane Whitman. If you know who Dane Whitman is, he's the Black Knight. This guy is like teaching a class, saying the most generic things in a class. You've seen this shit before. If you've seen a teacher talking in class, you've seen what he was doing here. Ridiculous. He's talking, and generic discussions are being enjoyed, and so on and so forth, by all the kids.
Generic laughing
About his generic dumbass jokes. And then her name is Cersei, being played by Gemma Chan. She comes in, and I guess Dane and Cersei are probably dating or something like that. I don't care.
Yeah, and then they always do the thing of, see you tonight. Oh, he said tonight.
Yeah, that's how they said it, boy.
Yeah.
Just how you said it is how they fucking said it in this fucking movie.
Yeah.
And then an earthquake happens. I'm like, oh, is there some action? No.
I think it's funny about this earthquake is that, like, everyone, no one's really, like, panicking that much. It's just kind of like, oh, no. She's like, just get under the desks. And one person's like, I'm scared. Here, I'll just hold you.
And then that was the end.
Then it was over. He's like, all right, let's go. Let's move on to something else.
And I'm like, why is this movie not hooking me? Why do the jokes feel off? A deviant shows up underwater and then goes back underwater. End scene. And I'm like, what the hell?
That went nowhere.
That went nowhere and did nothing.
I'm like, what is this?
And then there's a chase in London, because that's where this movie is. They're in London. This character named Sprite.
When I first heard that name, like, is that the real character? Like, is that really their name from the book?
Her name is Leah McHugh, and her character's name's Sprite, common spelling. She confuses it by trying to make clones of herself and others, who were there, and I'm like, why did you do that? It didn't do anything. You just wasted time.
They just turned it and just walked around it, and then they're like, it knows where we are.
Oh, no.
And then they get hit, and they're like, okay, so, and then it wears off. So I'm like, okay, so what were you trying to do? Like, you weren't even trying to, like, sneak up and kill it. You were just walking around
You were wasting time.
I'm like, okay.
Okay, and then the character Icarus shows up. Not common spelling. It's like Icarus, Icarus.
And he's totally not Superman.
100%. Like, he has none of his powers. You know, and Icarus is played by Richard Madden. Fine.
He's the only character name that I actually remembered in this movie when I first watched it.
They scream his name like the entire freaking time.
Yeah.
They even give us a stupid, Icarus flew too close to the sun. I said that story a long time ago when we were doing our Greek phase.
I'm like, stop.
Shut your mouth. Shut your damn mouth, Sprite.
I'm like, give him Icarus needs his red cape,
He looks exactly like Superman. Actually, he really looks more like Homelander, if we're being honest.
Yeah.
Give him the American cape, and then he looks like Homelander.
Yeah, but Homelander's better than this character.
Well, yeah. So, Icarus shows up and defeats the Deviant and throws him into a bus. Now we have like 4 random Eternals that just showed up for no reason.
He didn't even say, I was coming to look for you guys. He just said, I was in
the neighborhood, like he was Spider-Man or some shit.
I'm like, no.
No, get out of here. Okay, so Icarus and Cersei apparently were dating. They tell us a story, have an awkward love scene, and then they're out.
And I don't care.
I don't care. Then we get to move to see more Eternals fighting, because this movie went backwards in time. With none of these characters giving any like meaningful interactions. I don't even care about the action scene.
I just see the characters. I'm like, okay, so that's that guy and that guy. Oh, and there's Icarus.
Yeah. There's that guy and that guy and that guy and Icarus and that girl. This is what happens when you don't sit there and establish characters. Okay, I knew exactly who all the Guardians of the Galaxy were. I knew all of them before the movie came out. However, there were some people who didn't know,
like me.
Yeah, and you learned their names in the movie because they all talked and you really wanted to know the characters. You loved the characters. This movie is hot garbage with that.
It's just, I know Icarus, but it's not because I like him. It's just because they scream his name.
That's pretty much. It's Optimus all over again. So there is more world building, and it's boring. Okay? What is this movie?
It's a movie.
Okay? We keep learning about the relationship between Icarus and Cersei, and these people are not interesting to me at all. As time moves up, things keep getting worse for these characters, and I just don't care.
I mean, there's like, it just gets worse. I'm just like, why?
Yeah, so to move the plot along, they decide we need to go and freaking go see this character named Ajax, played by Selma Hayek. You know, and even at her advanced age, she still looks gorgeous. You know, I mean, if you saw Desperado and you saw the video on that whenever it comes out or came out, you know, you'll see this is like the youngest I've ever seen Selma Hayek, and she was gorgeous. Now she's gorgeous here again, and she's advanced. I'll tear it up. I would. Just saying, you know. She's playing a character named Ajax. You know, like the cleaning solution. And she ends up being dead. So we got a mystery.
It's funny how they found her like in a random house in the middle of nowhere, and they're like, "Oh, she's dead."
Whose house is this?
And everyone's like sad. And I'm like, "Oh, cool, the character that I saw for one scene at the beginning."
She's dead. That's
like,
it. So
like, she's dead. I cannot believe this. She meant so much. And I'm like, yeah, for that one scene.
So far, anyways. Turns out that the Eternals are trying to kill all the deviants because they go back in time. And they let us know they're trying to kill all the deviants because apparently the deviants are there to kill the people, and the Eternals are there to sit there and keep human life going. So they are built to make human progression happen on its own to the point where they can move along and be smart enough.
Yeah, they even show scenes where like there's the one guy, I don't know his name, but he's building stuff and weapons for the humans, and they're like he's advancing. They're advancing too fast. You can't build.
His name is Phastos. Yeah, played by Brian Tyree Henry, who I assume is supposed to be the Greek god Hephaestus.
Yeah.
You know,
but this is Phastos.
Yeah. You know, this is ridiculous. In any case, we go back and forth in time to where we see Ajax talking to the head of a celestial. You know, and then later on we see, you know, after her death, you know, she gives a ball in her neck to Cersei.
I call it the neck stone.
The neck stone, yeah. And that forces Cersei to talk to the same head of a celestial. And look, I like the scale of the celestial to the human. I think it's cool.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think that's bad at all. I don't know how to get this point across at how boring this movie is.
Yeah.
Okay.
And there's even a scene where like they have one of the people who can, you know, stop all the humans from fighting in their conflict. He's like, I'm gonna stop them all. And they say, you can't do that. You can't mess with their progression.
Yeah. What's his name? Druid.
Yeah, Druid.
Druid, played by Barry Keoghan. And I hate this guy's face.
He's like, you're gonna have to kill me.
Yeah, because he wants to stop human beings from fighting. There's no reason why he can't do this. He should be able to do this without anybody's permission. I don't know how far his power well reaches. Can he control other Inhumans? I don't know. I don't care.
Yeah, Druid sucks, to quote, you know.
To say the least.
Yeah.
Like I say, Ajax is dead. Cersei takes over the powers. And then, like I said, the Eternals are trying to kill all the deviants. And all they want is to sit there and let human life progress. But there's no reason why they have to do this. None of them understand the mission except for Ajax, who's now dead. We got other characters here. I forget. Her name is Thena, played by Angelina Jolie. Her character is an assassin. Well, not assassin, but like a great warrior. And for some reason, she's dying. Or, no, she's got Alzheimer's or whatever the hell the disease is.
Eternal Alzheimer's.
Yeah, eternal Alzheimer's, whatever the hell you want to call it. You know, and it's taking over her head, but this disease apparently takes over all Eternals, and there's no cure for it.
But it's happened to her right now.
Yeah, right now.
I guess because she's supposed to be older than the rest, I guess.
I don't know, and I don't really care. Okay. They showed Druid being kind of a villain. And does this pay off? No. No, I'm spoiling it right now. No. Even though he has full vibes of being a villain, being a bad guy, no.
There's also that other guy in there, too. The dancing dude. Or is that Druid? No, that's not Druid. That's Dingo or Kingo.
Yeah, Kingo, played by Kumail Nanjiani.
Yeah, he showed off some villain vibes too, but not him either.
I don't really feel like he showed villain vibes, but I don't really care. After they get back to the present time, the idea is to go and get the band back together. This movie's been on for a little over an hour, and they're still getting the band back together.
Time to unite the Eternals.
Yeah.
Serve up eternity.
Pretty much. We meet Gilgamesh, who is taking care of Thena.
It's funny that's his actual comic book.
Well, yeah, because he's a god boy. And I don't give a shit because it's all unearned emotion. Okay, they say, "Oh, hey, Sir Ajax is dead," and he just drops his pie that he's been cooking. Like, oh, like no, stop! I don't care. Okay, and here's my notes where I wrote, "Why do they bring up the Avengers? You don't deserve the Avengers. Keep Aquaman's name out your fucking mouth."
I mean, like, Kingo was like, Thor used to chase me around,
Yeah, I don't care.
And then you have, like, one of them be like, oh, yeah, Captain America, he looks up to me. He was inspired by me. I don't know. We told stories to inspire them.
I hate them all. I hate it all.
Like, no.
They really... They had to sit there and freaking add something, and the snap apparently freaking rules all. Apparently the snap, made Ajax change her mind on letting Earth live because it was the Earthlings who sat there and brought everybody back. They were gone for 5 years. Wait, did any of the Eternals disappear for 5 years? Or are they eternal and then nothing happened?
Well, it sounds to me they just sat there. They're supposed to protect human life, right?
No, they're just supposed to, they're supposed to allow the human beings to live their life, but they're supposed to stop the druids from killing humans.
Oh, okay.
The druids, the deviants.
So I guess since Thanos wasn't really a deviant, they don't care.
I don't care.
They're just like, yeah, whatever. He does his thing. But if he was a deviant, they'd be like, we got to kill him now.
Oh, yeah. We finally get some story here because this movie has been on for about almost an hour and a half at this point.
No action.
Hardly any action.
And when it does show up, it's
boring
and generic.
Okay, the thing is that the Celestial, I don't even know his name. I don't care.
I think it's they said Hesheim or something.
Don't care. He needs a new Celestial to be born, and the best way that they do that is they sit there and do what Galactus does and consume a planet, and then that planet allows a Celestial to be born. Okay, and then that Celestial ends up freaking making galaxies and things like that. So if you stop a Celestial from being born, then you literally stop other worlds from being born.
I mean, it sounds like if they had, like, good writers... and
this could have been good.
This could have been awesome. And, like, even, I guess, their twist, they had done their twist better with the Eternals and the Deviants. It sounded like it could have been great.
But we'll get to that twist, okay? Because I checked out for a little while, and then I came back. So, apparently... during this, they go to the forest to meet Druid again, who's still an asshole, and then all of a sudden, Deviants show up, and the Deviants, I'm like, you guys have spent, like, millennia fighting these things. You don't have any tricks on how to defeat them quicker, but apparently not, because they all get their asses kicked.
And Icarus is the only one who seems capable of taking on more than one.
Yeah.
He fights, like, 5 of them.
So, apparently, the Deviants are now stronger because they for whatever reason, I mean, I'll spoil the reason, apparently, because I don't care about this movie. Icarus, turns on...
He turned heel.
He turned heel on Ajax. And then the Deviants freaking took her powers and became stronger. And then, so now here, when they're fighting Gilgamesh, they take his powers and then they become stronger than that. And even their personality changes. I don't care. I've been calling him King Deviant or Deviant King. Don't care. Still, who is this movie made for? And we're still getting the band back together because they still haven't gotten Fastos.
Unite the Eternals.
Yeah.
Serve up eternity.
I don't care. They're still trying to recruit this clown, and I'm like, I don't care. Who is this damn movie for? Because it's not for me. I don't know who it's for. Usually you can see a movie and you can be like, oh, this movie's for that person, that girl, this guy, whatever. I don't know who this is for.
Yeah, this is for people who like Morbius.
I feel like I think that I want to say Morbius is better than this because of how worked up I'm getting.
It's like, I didn't remember getting this mad at Morbius. At Morbius, like, maybe I got mad at certain points, but then I kind of just ignored it. Where this one, I think this one hurts more because it's in the well, Morbius is in the MCU too, kind of, but like this is, made by Marvel, not Sony, so this one hurts more.
I don't know, man. So, I skipped a lot of shit just so we can get to the end of this freaking thing because I don't care. Icarus finally makes his betrayal.
Heel turn.
I mean, we said that before, but there's no emotion for me here.
It's just funny how everyone's like, how could you? You turned on us. We trusted you. And he's like, yeah, but...
Yeah, you shouldn't have done that.
Don't do that.
So the Power Rangers go and they go ahead and decide to freaking fight some deviants because the plan is that Cersei is going to unite the Eternals and she's going to use their powers combined to raise Captain Planet and destroy the Celestial that's going to be born from the Earth.
Yeah, I guess by freezing it and turning it into marble.
Whatever the hell she did. And, during this particular point in time, there's like only one spark of like cool of anything, and that was when the character Makari takes on Icarus. Now Makari is a speedster, so she's able to hit him hard, but I guess she has super strength too, and it looks cool. I don't hate that scene, like that one scene. I don't hate it. Okay.
I'm like, oh cool, this is Marvel's version of Superman versus Flash.
Yeah. So Cersei has like a moment with Sprite. And Sprite has also turned heel because she's actually in love with Icarus, because who isn't? He's Superman. And it's supposed to be super dramatic and tension is rising and things like that. And you're like, okay, we might get some good character development. No. Druid comes out of nowhere and just punches Sprite in the back of the head. And that's the end of that.
The way the punch looks was like just so super weak. It was like, boom, and that's it. You're like, oh, that was easy.
End of that chapter. During the fight, Phastos got Superman in like a bunch of chains, and he finally breaks those chains to go and kill Cersei, but he just can't do it. So he remembers his life that he had with Cersei since they'd been together for a while.
And the movie wanted to keep reminding us of all the boring flashbacks they showed us.
And how happy they were together and so on and so forth.
Even though there was no emotion there.
Nothing for me at all.
And he's like, oh no, what have I done?
Yeah. So he just lets it go. He lets Cersei do her plan and stop the Celestial that's being born from Earth. They stop it, and that's great and everything. But then Icarus literally goes and flies too close to the sun and dies.
It's like there's a reason why he's named Icarus for this movie.
By this time, like, the movie's over. They've already saved all the planet and everything like that. And there's, like, for whatever reason, 20 minutes left of this movie.
They're like, oh, yeah.
At least that's what it felt like.
Like, let's turn Sprite into a human for some reason.
Yeah, let's go ahead and give her the chance to grow up and be a Toys R Us kid. And let's go ahead and, like, let everybody sit there and just be like, hey, there's no consequences from this at all. Right? Some of us Eternals will leave the planet, and the rest of us will just kind of live here, and then that'll be the end of it, right? Wrong, because what should have clearly been like an extra credit scene, the main Celestial comes to Earth and freaking just takes them off the planet and says, you guys screwed up, I'm gonna have that ass.
And it's funny is that this is never referenced in any other Marvel movie again. You'd think they would talk about, there was this giant face in the sky.
And even worse, there's this giant face on the planet.
I mean, it was in the news. Like, what is this?
I bet they never talk about it again.
Yeah.
I bet they never say anything. If they won't talk about the time in Spider-Man where the sky turned purple and was breaking apart, they'll never talk about this.
The only thing that's talked about is the incident from Avengers 1, Ultron, and the snap. Mm-hmm. So if it didn't happen in the Avengers movie, it didn't happen at all.
That's how Marvel goes.
And then I guess we had our end credits scenes with Thanos' brother.
Yeah, Thanos' brother Eros, which, the more I think about it, the more irritated I get. I understand that Eros is an eternal. Does that and he's Thanos' legitimate biological brother. Does that mean Thanos is an eternal? You didn't think about that, did you?
No. I'm just like, Look, let's just. He meant to say I'm Thanos' cousin.
No, he said it. He said what he said.
And I'm like,
okay, like I understand the comics, but like if you're gonna sit there and do something, why doesn't this guy have the ball chin?
Because
he doesn't have to be purple. They don't have to be purple, but he should have had the same chin.
Nah, not this guy. He's a different brother. He is his brother. He just they have the same parents.
As far as we know.
I mean, I would have thought you would have, saved Thanos' brother for a better movie.
I don't care. I'm done talking about this movie. I was irritated the entire time. It deserves the one that it got. And I hope that you out there on the internet feel the same. Because this movie was garbage.
And eternal.
I don't ever need to see this movie again. I didn't buy into the hype of how bad it was. I should have, because this was bad.
I warned you.
And I'm angry. I'm angry that I watched it. I'm mad. And believe me, I find 100% joy in ripping this movie a new asshole. And this is one of those what's the word? One of those situations where I think I could have done better. I look at a lot of these movies and I'm like, I don't think I could have done better than what they did.
But this one.
This one, I'm like, I could have done way better than what they did here.
It's funny is that I just thought about this, but in this movie, they actually had a kid call Icarus Superman. And like, so that means Superman exists in the Marvel Universe?
Just keep his name out your mouth. Okay? I'm going to get Will Smith all up in here. And just palm your face.
You keep his name out your mouth.
I'm just mad. But hey, we don't have to talk about it anymore, so I guess that's good news.
Yeah, I only had to watch it twice.
Yeah, I mean, you won't let me forget that, will you?
No.
But we'll talk about another movie next time.
Hopefully a better one.
I hope so too, because the next one will be available
when it's ready.